Everyone, and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In today's video, we're going to give you the round 2 betting preview between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll be going over this matchup statistically, fundamentally, and then breaking down all the betting angles in this matchup. So let's get right into it. So here's what stands out in the statistical breakdown between Denver and OKC. Let's start with Oklahoma City. OKC is statistically the best team in the league. They rank number 1 in power rating, SRS, defensive rating, and net rating. They don't just look good, they've dominated across both ends of the floor. Their offense is efficient, their defense is elite, and they take care of the ball better than anyone. Now, Denver is right behind them, the top 10 in nearly every key category. Their offense is elite, top 5 in offensive rating and efficient field goal percentage. They crash the glass hard, and their overall profile is built around clean, efficient basketball. But here's where the contrast matters. OKC's defense is probably the real separator in this matchup. They're not just locking teams down, they're forcing mistakes and capitalizing with transition offense. Denver's turnover differential is ranked 25th in the NBA, and this is a major red flag against an opponent like OKC, who's elite at creating havoc. Jokic-led teams don't usually beat themselves, but sloppiness here could cost them. The bottom line here is that both teams are elite, but OKC's statistical profile is just cleaner. Denver's offensive firepower is legit, but they'll need to avoid giving OKC extra possessions or they'll be playing catch up the whole series. So let's jump to the fundamentals now. You can see OKC's bench depth is going to be the story in this matchup. Denver's top end talent is clear. Jokic and Murray carry an enormous load, and their combined 23.9 win shares tell the tale. But outside of that duo, they become thinner. The bench is nearly non existent in win shares per 48. The pace suits Denver, but this is a team that leans heavily on their starters. On the opposite side for OKC, they're spreading it out. And I mean by playoff historics, because I know people are going to go crazy, but this next line is that no single player has an MVP stat line. I get it. In the regular season, SGA, yes, MVP level. I'm saying based on playoff historics from what we are looking at here, they look like more of a Boston Celtics evenly balanced team, almost death by a thousand paper cuts type of style. But six of the top 8 guys are producing efficiently. You can see that from their whole team basically. Shea and Jalen are real shot creators, and Holmgren's giving them impact minutes at both ends of the floor. Combine that with the elite win shares per 48 from guys like Caruso and Wallace, you've got a sustainable contribution across the board. What it means for the series: Denver has the best player, and that always matters in the playoffs. You got to remember that. But OKC has more ways to beat you. The load is lighter for each guy, which helps over a long series, especially when the pace is going to be this high. So if you're betting based on playoff proven factors, this screams Thunder edge just by looking at it. OKC owns 3 of the 4 most profitable indicators in postseason betting over the last 5 years. They've got the edge in offensive rating, raw turnover percentage, and then the turnover differential. So that's not just efficiency, that's control. This is a young team that values the ball and punishes mistakes, which is a brutal combo against Denver's tendency to play through one primary creator. Denver grabs one edge. That's going to be the free throw rate differential, which is big when Jokic gets whistle-friendly calls. But that's the only lever they're pulling in this matchup. So when 3 of the 4 plus EV factors say OKC, that's something that sharp bettors must take a look at. All right, so let's take a look at what the recent trends show. Then they're showing a kind of a massive gap in this performance between these two teams. Oklahoma City isn't just covering, they're crushing the numbers. You can see they've just been riding that wave since about game 55 and on. That's not necessarily noise, that's sustained value, and the line still isn't catching up. The trend lines are climbing across every single window, which is the last 6 games, 16 games, and 32 games. That's going to be your color-coded lines, and that's showing consistency in market underreaction. On the other side, Denver, they're even against the spread at 44 and 44 this year, but the trajectory is kind of ugly. They've been hemorrhaging against the spread units late, dipping below 7 units before crawling back to about $3.96, almost close to their average. This isn't a team catching steam. It's one that looks like they're trying to tread water. So if you're comparing playoff spread form heading into a series, OKC's trend line looks like a runway. Denver's kind of looks like a little bit of turbulence, but they are creeping back up to their season average. Now looking at the money line trends, and they paint a similar story. OKC's the sharper side. You can see that the Thunder are sitting at a 73-13 run, returning about $10.47 for every $1 bet with a 12.2% return on investment. So they've been favored often, but the line hasn't been inflated enough to kill value. Their chart shows consistent growth across all rolling windows, and this is a team beating expectation and not just winning. Denver, on the other hand, they went 54-35 so far this year. The record looks good on the surface, but it's barely profitable at $1.05 per $1 bet, and the rate of return is a modest 1.2%. The volatility in their curve is telling they hit a mid-season bump, briefly surged, and then tanked hard before recovering late. So a lot of up and downs. But that inconsistency shows in the short-term trend lines, which flatten out. If you're trying to back form and recent value, OKC's delivering steady returns. Denver, on the other hand, feels like a coin flip priced at about minus 125. All right, so let's take a look at the series betting lines for this matchup. The markets are saying OKC wins comfortably. You can see that they're laying about minus 2.5 at minus 135, and a series line of minus 700. So that's a heavy tax for a team that's still proving itself in the playoffs. The books aren't just favoring them; they're pricing in dominance. The model gives OKC a 58% win probability, lower than the implied odds of minus 700, which is about 87.5. So the odds in the market are telling you this is 87.5% chance that they should win the series, where we're telling you they're going to win 58% of the 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations. So that's kind of a massive gap and screams no value on the money line, obviously. Model also takes Denver at plus 2.5 and leans to the over, suggesting the pace and shot quality should create enough volume for points even if OKC wins. And I kind of agree with that. The bottom line that I would take from this is that the market is inflated on OKC. The model shows value on the Nuggets against the spread and the over. So if you believe in betting numbers, not narratives, there's no way you're laying the minus 700 here. And I would agree with that. I think that this being past 5.5 games, I don't want to say it's a lock. Nothing's ever a lock. But I think Denver, with their experience in the playoffs, their fight, their determination, let's hope that they're not fatigued that where they can't play at their maximum ability. I think if they can play at their maximum ability, OKC's going to win. But I think you can get over that 5.5 games and you get into that plus money at plus 130. So I really like that. Obviously, you're not taking OKC at the minus 700. That was already talked about. If you do think it's a blowout, maybe you go OKC, that minus 2.5. But I really like the over in the series. And if the over is in the series, maybe a Denver spread possibility at also plus money at plus 115. That's what I'm leaning towards. I don't necessarily know yet. Still have some handicapping to do in this matchup. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in to the NBA first round playoff preview. We hope you had a great time and picked up some awesome information. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Grandstand Sports Data for more great shows like this one. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends. And leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this series. That's all for now, and we'll see you guys in the next one.